There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Podcast Juice Live. This is your host, Michael Dean, and I'm joined by Mr. Q Storm. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I feel like I'm the bastard stepchild being out here on the East Coast. It's 10 o'clock where I am. Y'all nights just starting, so by the time we get done, I'm gonna be wasted. That's okay.
All right, all right. And also joining us tonight is Mr. Ant Pooh. How are you, sir?
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Green
Yeah,
Lantern's night.
I see you got your green on today. Is
That's
there
right,
some
sir.
significance for this?
Representative John Stewart.
Right on.
I'm doing good. It's about 60 degrees and wet and raining, and I'm just like, seriously? It's supposed to be Southern Cali. We don't get that bad weather.
Well, shoot, 60 degrees sounds good right now because it is freezing over here.
Man, for us, it's freezing. Well, at least for my black ass.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
If you take away Green Lantern's ring, what you got? What you got?
Hmm?
Okay, you got Hal Jordan, who I think sucks.
Okay, I'll just hey, it's all good. It's all good. I've never understood the Green Lantern. I just never got into him, I guess.
Right. So I think we wanted to sort of focus on some comic books, sci-fi stuff here at the beginning. I wanted to ask you guys, and I didn't put this in the show notes. Have you guys seen that show last night, Ascension? It was on the Sci-Fi Channel.
I recorded it, but I hadn't got a chance to look at it. So
Okay. Well, then I definitely will not spoil it for you. But I did watch it last night. Ascension's a three-night or three-part mini-series on the Sci-Fi Network. And the premise is that apparently the United States sends about 600 people on the spaceship on an interstellar voyage. I don't know if they're trying to get to some planet or something, but they launched this in the 1960s. And then the show picks up 50 years later, and they're still on this journey. I think it's a 100-year journey. And the show starts with there's a young lady that gets murdered on the show at the very beginning. And then you just sort of watch what's going on. It has a very interesting twist in the show, which I won't ruin. And I would say I will enjoy it. It was a little slow at first, and I wasn't understanding kind of what was going on. Sometimes it would go between being on the ship and then actually come to Earth. There's another character that's on Earth, and it's this kind of conspiracy type thing, but it wasn't still kind of clear how they tie together. But toward the end of the show, I was kind of like, mouth open. I was like, okay, this is very interesting. I got to watch tonight, so I'm going to watch it tonight. But yeah, it's a good show. You should check it out, man.
will do. Yeah, I was thinking the premise from the commercial sounded interesting. Just hadn't got to it.
All right.
It
Have
looks
you heard
like
of this?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've seen the promos. It seemed like it reminded me of Battlestar Galactica a little bit.
Well, I know that one lady, the blonde-haired lady, who was I think a Cylon on Battlestar. She is in this, and she kind of plays another sexy kind of a character. This is definitely a cable show. There's some nudity going on, some cussing, and some interesting sex type stuff. But it's worth watching. I was ready to write it off because it was sci-fi, and I was like, but it was not bad. It was pretty good. It's okay.
Speaking of weird sex, I did see Top 5.
Oh, now you know what I was talking about. Huh?
That's a nice segue.
Man, I'm not gonna do a review because we've already covered that ground. But
what did you think of the movie?
well, overall, I mean, I'm not gonna say I hated it. It's just like it needed to either be a comedy, a straight out comedy, or a dramatic movie. If it had been one of those two things, I think it would have been a lot better. It tried to be both, and that whole thing with the boyfriend with Rosario Dawson, that was just some weird. I'm like, Chris, what the hell? You need to work out some issues, bro. If you're writing that into your scripts, you might want to check yourself. That was completely uncalled for. I just don't understand why. It seems like I'm not gonna say every, but why so many black movies got to put the white people in there just to make them look stupid? I mean, Okay, let's see. Conspiracy brother over here. But I mean, it wasn't bad. It could have been a lot better, I thought. And Chris Rock still, this is probably his best performance since Pookie, as far as I'm concerned. But he's just not an actor. He was trying to play some parts. Like he was trying to it was when he was doing the promos, what do you call them, the drops, radio drops, and the dude said put some more stank on it. And he tried to get on this look on his face like he was like really mad. I busted out laughing. So he's just not an actor, but it was better than Head of State. I'll give it that. Much better than Head of State.
Yeah, that part where he's doing the radio drops reminds me of I think it was Hollywood Shuffle. It's like, can you be more jive ass? Can you be, what do you say? Be more stank. I was like, this Yeah. What do you think of Cedric?
Oh, why'd you remind me of that? Did I really need to see Chris Rock naked?
Wait,
why?
Chris Rock got naked?
Yes, you don't see anything, but even so, they cover everything up. I mean, you see him laying on the floor, and he's on his side, so you don't see the front stuff or the back stuff. But just the fact that he got naked, and I'm sorry, he got a really ugly chest, man. Oh, I almost got sick.
Chris Rock?
Yeah.
But it was funny to me though. That whole scene was hilarious. It was so over the top, man.
Yeah, it was over
Cedric
the top.
was crazy.
Yeah.
And for those who watch Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, I believe, one of those girls that was it Kylie Red, if I'm saying her name right. That was very interesting.
Oh, the girls were very interesting. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, they were very interesting. I could have saw more of them than Cedric and Chris, but
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of movies, real quick, what do you guys think about this whole? Again, the Sony thing is just getting more crazier by the day. Now, the people behind the hack, I think they call themselves the Guardians of Peace. Now, now they are saying that they're going to do 9/11 style meta-terrorism on movie theaters who choose to show the movie The Interview. And this is the Seth Rogen movie that many people are speculating that started this, or what is the reason behind this hack in the first place. What's that? Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
And and then even Seth Rogen and what's the other guy's name?
James Franco.
Yeah, Franco. They have both canceled all press interviews related to this movie, just out of fear of, I guess, these attacks. And now I think I'm seeing that Sony is telling theaters, if you don't want to show it, you don't have to. I mean, go ahead and pull it if you're uncomfortable.
What?
Yeah, I could have sworn I just saw that pass through. But just speaking on this whole hack thing, and now they're threatening, to go after theaters. What do you guys think about this?
Now, I didn't get the show notes until we started. I didn't get a chance to read them all. But what are they threatening to do?
They say they use the words 9/11. They say here, I'll read it. It says soon all the world will see what an awful movie Sony Pictures Entertainment has made. The world will be full of fear. Remember the 11th of September 2001. We recommend you keep yourself distant from the places at that time. If your house is nearby, you better leave.
So are they saying that some I guess Arab Muslims are behind this?
Well, no one's saying. Let me be clear. There's nothing that says anything about Muslims or Arabs in this email.
So, are they threatening to blow up movie theaters that show this movie?
Well, I would imagine they're thinking of.
Korean.
I don't know if they mean some sort of. They're talking about cyber terrorism. So again, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but you never know. It's not very clear exactly what they do say they'll do. They just say think of 9/11. So you know when you say that, that puts people in a certain frame of mind.
Yeah, that 9/11 had nothing to do with cyber terrorism. I mean,
Right.
what can they do when I'm sitting in the theater? Hack my phone? I don't understand what that means. That's why I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah, like I said, man, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what could they do, but again, you never know. What maybe they could hack your phone, I guess, and get all your records.
I mean, I really find it hard to believe that someone's going to come and blow up the theater in Wilmington, Delaware, where I'm going to go see The Hobbit tomorrow.
Why are you going that far?
Say what now?
Why are you driving that far? Aren't you in Philly?
Well, damn, I mean, Philly covers a lot of territory, bro.
All right.
The theater's like 10 minutes from me. I live closer to Wilmington, Delaware than Philly.
Okay.
But, it's not as exciting. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to talk about this interview allegation. I'm just like, I don't get that. I mean, why would they single out that movie? Only thing I can think of since to discuss is North Korea. I'm like, North Korea behind this? I don't get it. Is it that serious?
Well, some people have speculated that it is North Korea that did the hack.
And what the hell were any of the African nations at with that damn Exodus movie? Can we get that shit?
Hysterical.
That tells you the non-power of African people.
Wow.
That shit deserves some cyber terrorism threats.
Let me tell you, here's the thing. It says one chain, the Carmike Cinemas, has already told Sony Studios that they're going to pull out of the interview. So I guess there is a theater. It's not going to show it, just for fear.
See, I got to tell you, I'm not one to take the tough guy stance, but this sounds like some bitch mode right now. You're going to pull the movie out of the theaters because someone that you don't know says they're going to do something like cyber terrorism and 9/11, and you're really going to pull the movie out of the theaters?
Man, after that dude James Holmes, do you even want to take that?
Who?
That James Holmes, the guy that
Shot up the Batman.
Yeah.
Was that his name? Anyway, I know what you're talking about. But they said cyber terrorism.
Well, no, they didn't say cyber. I'm just assuming that's what they mean, cyber terrorism. They just said they're going to do something to the theaters. They didn't say exactly what it was. They just referenced 9/11.
So what do they? So let me. What do they have, like Jason Bourne sleeper cells or something? How are they going to attack every theater? That makes no sense.
It doesn't. But I from the theater's standpoint, if it was me, I mean, you got to think of the liability. And do you want to risk something like that? Do you think people are going to come to the theater? Is it even going to be worth your time to show it then if no one comes because you'd be losing money? I can understand. Even Sony, like I said, I can understand even Sony saying, listen, we can understand why you may not want to show this. It's up to you. But I don't know. I mean, personally, if it was my theater, I would definitely weigh, the situation because there's a lot of crazy people out there, man.
But, and I'm not justifying this threat, but just on the surface, who greenlights a quote-unquote comedy about sending some people in to interview a head of state, but it's really a covert assassination attempt?
Apparently Sony.
I would agree that it does seem like why would you want to stir that up? But I'm telling you this.
I was like, the preposterous movie plot, and why would you put that out there?
If no one is in that theater when that movie screens, it's because it's a movie starring Seth Rogen and James Franco. No, it shouldn't be any other reason for you to pull that movie because no one's gonna come anyway. Ain't nobody trying to see that.
They have an audience though.
Surprisingly, James Franco does. I think he's a terrible actor.
I wouldn't say that. I think he's like a younger Johnny Depp, basically. He had a burgeoning career. He had 127 Hours.
That was a good movie.
Then he fucked up.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and proceed this with the views of that are expressed by Anthony Kennedy are those of his and his alone, not of PodcastJuice.net, nor his employers who shall remain nameless. But that Oscar nomination had everything to do with his connections, if you know what I mean.
Here we go.
His acting ability.
His connections with what?
His connections with a certain ruling class in Hollywood, perceived ruling class in Hollywood.
So it's either going to be gays or Jews. Which one?
I'm not going to say either one, but
Right. Okay. A man who stands behind his words, ladies and gentlemen.
You said the views were just yours, and now you don't want to give us the views.
hey, I'm still looking for a job, so you know.
Wow. Well,
You work with a lot of
I'm
gays.
have more to do with that. Say it again.
You work with a lot of gays and Jews. You don't want to offend them. What's that got to do with anything?
That's all I'm going to say. I think that had more to do with that affiliation than his acting ability.
well, nonetheless, the movie now is very controversial because of that. I was going to ask you, did you guys have any intention in seeing this anyway?
No. I think we saw all the funny parts in the trailer.
I still haven't forgiven Seth Rogen for Green Hornet.
I did like the one movie they had, End of the World or something, or.
Oh, this is I know what you're talking. The one with Craig Robinson.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
But the only problem is that actually wasn't a real script. That was like them being themselves.
Yeah, probably true.
They got high. They got high. They had a party, and they imagined the end of the world. Hey, let's film that shit.
Speaking of movies, I don't know if we can move on. I got a question. Now, both of you have seen Top 5, right?
Have not.
Well, Mike, you saw it.
I saw it. Yeah.
Did you see the two? I don't know what trailers you saw, but when I saw it, they had two new movies coming out with Kevin Hart. Did you see those?
I don't know if I saw the trailer then, but I know I've seen them. One is like the Wedding Finger.
The Wedding Ringer.
Wedding Ringer, which incidentally, let me just throw in real quick, because of the hacks, Sony canceled Kevin Hart's press junkins for that movie.
My God, man.
Well,
Why?
I think they may not want reporters to ask him questions because one of the other controversies where they called him a whore in those emails. And so now he's out. They may not want him to speak to reporters to get his response about that when it's their movie.
What was the context of them calling him a whore?
They wanted him to tweet about their movie on his Twitter, and he was like, "I'll do it, but you gotta pay me for it."
How does that make him a whore?
Well, here's what they think about you.
I'm like.
They feel like he should do that as part of his deal as being in the movie.
Yeah, because that was the question I was going to ask. Was that a movie he was in, or was it another Sony movie? As they try to do that cross promotion, like, oh, you're doing a number of Sony films, so Amazing Spider-Man just came out.
No, I believe it would be this movie he's in.
Right.
I can't. I can't imagine that because that would make no sense. Why would you not tweet about your own movie?
Well, if he feels like he ain't getting paid to tweet their movie. I mean, I could see his point on the level that he might be in. He's like, I'm already in the movie. I'm doing the press. You want me to go on my Twitter and my customers and promote it? Cut me a check.
That'd be like someone coming to Mike and saying, "Can you run this ad on your podcast juice?"
Okay, that's not the same. That is not.
How is it not the same? How is it not the same?
Okay, my understanding is he did a movie. Let's say it was a ride along. And Sony was like, okay, we're producing this movie, a film come out, here's a tweet we want you to tweet about your movie, Ride Along. And he said, I'll tweet about it, but pay me to tweet about my movie, Ride Along. That doesn't make any sense.
But it's not his if it ain't his movie, though. Is it their movie and he stars in
it? It's not,
I don't see the problem. Why would I get his hustle, but I don't see the problem with why he wouldn't tweet for free about go see my movie Ride Along.
Because they have millions of dollars behind marketing. They paid someone to market it.
Right.
So he doesn't want to market it for free. It's his Twitter account.
All right, I can see that.
If your job wanted you to tweet something
Oh, well, that's different.
Nagger. First
That
Nagger.
I was gonna say that's the war cry of the nagger. That one, and see what had happened was
That's different. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the only thing I got for it, well, that's different.
Hmm. Well, my bad. You were going into something cute. We got diverted there for a second.
no. I was gonna. I mean, it's he. I don't know how many millions of followers he has. I'm sure it's in the millions. He built that. If they want to, it's his product, it's his brand on that tweet on the Twitter account. So I could see him saying you should pay me for it. Now, someone responded saying that Sony was out of line because other celebrities tweet on their accounts and they get paid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'm sure that's the game right now. They do get paid for their accounts, but I think with that argument that person's stating is that they'll get paid like let's say Kevin Hart. I know, like the example with Amazing Spider-Man. Kevin Hart's not in Amazing Spider-Man, so Sony approaches him and says, "Hey, you just did Ride Along for us, and you got 2 more movies with us coming out. Do us this solid and tweet about our movie Amazing Spider-Man." And he says, "Hey, I want to get paid," and in theory, he should get paid for that. So I think maybe that's the equivalence they're talking about, where you get paid to tweet about something else, and celebrities do that. Because I mean, I know for a fact that a certain West Coast rapper he gets about 20 G's per tweet.
Yeah, like I said, I just know if I was on the level of Kevin Smith, I want to say Kevin Hart, excuse me, I'd be like, yeah, I need to get a check too, because hey, they got big money, and I'm not no rinky-dink dude. I'm in all these movies, so I need to get paid, man. That's how the game goes. If you don't want to pay me, then I ain't gonna tweet. But which he probably didn't, and it only is a controversy because their emails got exposed to the public, and now they got to deal with that. Also, I wanted to ask you too, guys, what do you think about this? The other thing that's in the news today, I saw this on a couple of channels. Aaron Sorkin, he is now going out there politicking for Sony, which is kind of funny to me, but he's saying that, you know what, news organizations should not be reporting the hack, the information from the hack. He says it's even worse than reporting about the nude, pictures that surfaced a few months ago. He says this is worse, and that news organizations should not be reporting this type of stuff. What do you guys think about that?
I think he's on that shit again. That's what I think.
I think he's trying to get a new television production deal. That's what I think. You're like, yes, sir, boss. You see, I was out there. Yeah. I had your backs, boss. Can we sign that contract?
No. He's in that club. He doesn't have to talk like that. He's in that club.
What club is this?
My point.
His last name is Sorkin. Now, don't make me say it.
Wow. I think he might be in a couple clubs, actually. But
that's not right. Right.
I saw him today I've never seen him before. I admire his work. When I saw him talking, I was like, it's just kind of like you can tell when you look at certain people, like, oh, okay. Hey, nothing wrong with that, but okay.
That reminds me of what I said about Tyler James Williams on Walking Dead.
Yeah, okay.
Are you trying to say that in some of those pictures with Bryan Singer, you might see Aaron Sorkin there as well?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know about that. But
Ant knows
Kevin Spacey.
Ant knows the deal, so I know what club he's talking about. You just answered my question.
I didn't get that vibe from him, sir, but I'm just, making sure that we're on the same page.
But I don't know. To me, you know what? I think it's unfortunate that the information has leaked, and apparently they got even more they're about to drop on them. They said they're going to drop a Christmas gift either tomorrow or the next day. We're supposed to really go at people. They actually even appealed to Sony employees and said, if you don't want your information, the next thing that we dump, let us know your name so we can take you out. So
wow, that's nice.
They're going real hard on Sony. This is a very interesting, situation, but they're really going in on them. I think they even posted the script to the new James Bond movie.
I heard that.
Damn.
came
Well,
out. Yeah.
my opinion on with the Eric Sorkin thing is like, are they gonna call? Are they gonna call him to task for that? In my opinion, very insensitive and nearly sexist, misogynistic mindset that he was espousing there to compare the gross violation of a female and her body and her privacy to some hacked emails. So hopefully they do that. And secondly, I don't think any of the Sony people should have anything to apologize for. These are private conversations, private business emails. So I mean, it's not like they went out in the public and just threw all that stuff out. This is a conversation that they're having. You might not agree with it, but to say that they owe President Obama an apology or they owe Kevin Hart an apology, I think that's not fair. It's just like, well, I'm sorry you found out about it. That's all I would say. Sorry you heard it.
Yeah, but big business can't operate like that, man.
Yeah, well, you're right. You're right.
A matter of fact, the lady Amy Pascal, I think, is the CEO. And I'm gonna find it, but she apparently called. Hey, let me call Al Sharpton and get on that. Let me get on the train because I gotta apologize and make this look good. So they like trying to,
But I think we need
they on an apology tour.
But to be honest, I feel like, and I'm going to say it, I feel like black folk need to stop throwing that race card at something. This is not a case of, oh, he's racist and we need to throw down Hollywood. That's how they think. Because behind closed door, matter of fact, when our mics go red, don't we say some out of pocket shit?
We all do, but the thing is, and I agree with you, but when it goes out to the people, they don't care about that. They're not gonna, we may say like, oh well, you shouldn't have heard it. No, don't take it personal. But the thing is, people don't judge it like that. The public is not as rational as that. They're gonna be like, you know what, that's wrong. And the news organizations is gonna run that story. Oh, they said this about President Obama. Oh, they said this about da 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 da. And it ain't about black people pulling the race card. I think it's themselves.
Well, Al did.
He did?
Yeah, he was saying that this is a systemic racial issue within Hollywood, and shows that he even made a statement to TMZ saying the farther you get up on Hollywood is like mountains. The further you get up, the wider it gets. And it's just like
it's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is what it is to me. But the way I see it, and I probably catch some heat for saying this, black people are only 13% of the population. Who do you think is the dominant population in America? You ain't even let me make my point.
What about black on black crime?
See, I was gonna pay you a compliment too, Michael Dean. But see, look at you. I'ma still do it. See, my point being is, black people are only 13% of the population. White people are 50% of the population. Do you really think they should or really care about catering to us? We should stop going to them and say diversify. Let us in, instead of, as Michael Dean pointed out, take that Tyler Perry route and go make our own. Tyler Perry's only been in the Hollywood game for about 10 years, and the dude is damn near close to a billionaire, has his own studio, has shows all up and down cable, has a movie coming out every freaking year. So how is it he can go do it, but everybody else want to cry about they won't let us in? And then when you find out what they really think about us, you want to holler, see they're racist. They need to let us in. No, get your shit together and do what Tyler Perry did. Do what Oprah did. That was Michael Dean's argument.
Yeah, but not for this. But what I do agree with you. But I'm thinking. But the thing is, I think the issue though is not necessarily whether they're gonna let us in. I think the issue at hand is that in today's society, we got Q-Storm in here twice. But when these things leak out now, the bigger the brand, the bigger the damage control. And Sony is really taking it. I mean, their stock dropped 10%, in the last week. Their movie plans have been exposed. People's salaries have been exposed. Internal emails, talking about other actresses and actors and people is coming out. So it's hard to pull back on that, and I think corporate Sony, Japan Sony, the real head honchos, I'm sure they're probably looking at, we may have to get rid of this girl symbolically just because it don't look right for the brand. We're going to have to clean house. Not that there was necessarily anything wrong per se, But now that it don't look right for the company, someone has to come in there and straighten it up and play it for the public. Say, hey, you know what? You can trust us. And it also plays to saw an article. I think it was on Forbes or something. They were talking about the public's perception of they don't trust Sony's products. They feel like it can get hacked. The PlayStation was hacked. What, that was last year, or a very famous hack a couple year ago. Now this, so it doesn't really look good for their brand overall. They really got to figure out how. I'm curious how they're going to play.
I want to know why are they going after Sony as opposed to, let's say, MGM or Legendary or any of these others?
Because I really want to know what the inner circle is thinking about these comic book properties. That's what I really want.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do with the Spider-Man thing, since it seemed like it's really being put out there. Maybe Sony can go ahead and give up Spider-Man to Marvel, almost like they kind of forced into this now, or seems like.
My thinking is I believe, I could be totally wrong on this, but I believe that 25 to 30% of $1 billion is better than 100% of a shared 500 million. Because you gotta go into the budgeting. You have to go into the theater cut. You got to go into the points where you can just say straight, give us 25% of $1 billion with no risk.
Are you talking about in terms of them letting Marvel do the movies?
Yeah. It's like no matter what you guys do, we want our 25%, and we don't. All we have to do is distribute it. I don't know what the cost is associated with that. So just go ahead.
You got a lot of egos involved. They're not going to give that up. That's not enough for them.
Well, eventually if they don't get it right, they're going to do irreparable damage to the property that they're not going to be able to make another movie. So I'd rather make the deal now and guarantee the next 10 Spider-Man flicks you getting a piece of than spending your money. Because what was their profit? I mean, we don't know yet what their profit was on this last Amazing Spider-Man. But I'm sure it definitely wasn't anywhere close to Spider-Man 2's. And that's their fault.
Yeah, and I don't, and if the reports are true, Andrew Garfield is gone. They've let him go already. So I don't know what. They got to do something.
He said Andrew Garfinkel.
And I like the dude, but
I don't.
I know you don't.
Yeah, I think you're too harsh. But see, I think the problem is, they said Marvel. I think some of the hacks, Marvel had the right tone. It was like, look, we're done with this relationship shit. You did it for 5 films. The relationship was the central story to the plot, which it worked in 1 and 2. By 3, I'm like, look, I couldn't stand Mary Jane, and I was sick of will they or won't they, can they or can't they. And then they decided, let's try it again. This time we'll get. I met the hotter looking Emma Stone. Shut up, kid. Yeah.
What?
She looked better than Kirsten Dunst.
No, she does not.
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree. Mind you, this is the same guy's audience that doesn't think Tracy Ellis Ross has a fat ass. Whatever.
Yeah, well, you can say what you want. Emma Stone looks like a ferret. She is not cute.
Well, at least she ain't got that snaggletooth thing going on. So come on.
Yeah, she got them canines that are like Dracula, and that flat face that goes like this. Yeah, she's good. Yeah, okay.
But I think that's still a better proposition for them. Or at least, how about this? How about we take full production costs on one film and assume all of the profit and as well as risk on it, and we just alternate. It's like Marvel, you take creative, and then we'll just alternate who produces the films and gets the money. How about that?
Yeah, but they can't. But then you'd have one movie that's real good and one that's horrible, and then no one would want to go see.
No, Marvel handles everything. It's just that Sony, they finance everything and get the bulk of the profits, and then the next film is all profit. It's all produced and put together by Marvel, and they just alternate it for a certain period of time. There's got to be something to work this out.
Why would Marvel do that though? They were like, look, you guys have fucked it up. We want the whole thing. We don't need you.
Well then, damn it, Disney, write the fucking check. Like they say in marketing, cut the fucking check.
You mean to buy back the rights? You mean?
Yes.
That'd be one hell of a check, man.
It would be fucking worth it. In the first film, they would get at least 75% of their money back. The first Marvel Studio Spider-Man, that's $1 billion.
Wow.
So how much the check think you got? Again, then they'd be paying. They would never do that because they would look crazy. Like they'd be like, you're buying your own thing. You'd be paying almost Star Wars price for one character.
That one character is the biggest. Did they say it's the biggest superhero property in the world?
So again, so why would, even if that was true, why would Sony give it up to them? You're like, we can just sit on it and put out a bullshit movie, but we ain't gonna never. Why would we give this up then? Because we could eventually get somebody in here to get it right.
Well, how long does Sony have it for?
I believe there's an expiration on that, but if they don't, I'm hearing 2020, 2022. That's what I'm hearing.
And I think it's something sort of like if you don't do anything with it, you could lose it. But if you do, just go ahead and make a movie. It keeps it going.
I'm hearing even if they do produce film, there's still there is a finite end to it.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that. You have to look at that. I'm not a lawyer.
You don't say.
But here's the thing. This is the one thing I don't get is do you think that the market could bear 2 Spider-Mans? Let's say Sony says, okay, we will give you the rights to use Spider-Man, a whole different Spider-Man within these parameters in your films, but we maintain the rights for the remainder of this contract to do our own solo films.
Nah, I don't think that would work. I wouldn't want to see that. That'd be ridiculous.
Well, but actually, we are going to see it with the Flash in some way, kind of.
Well, you're talking about TV versus movies.
I know, but still, it's still 2 different universes of the same character.
We're seeing it on a smaller scale with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. They're going to be Fox's film and Sony's film.
That's a good point.
They're not the lead characters, though.
Yeah,
if it was a Scarlet Witch film and then they had enough, I'd be like, that's a little confusing. Especially if people who don't know the difference, the non-comic regular people. Again, it'd be one thing if it was a TV show, but if they both were at the movies, they would be like, why are they different? Is this the same? How come the story doesn't continue?
Well, what's going to really be messed up is that Marvel can't use the term mutants. Looks like they're setting it up where Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are the result of Nazi experiment, or not Nazi, but Hydra experiments.
Well, they said it's the age of miracles.
I'm fine with that. That's okay. I don't think that really affects the story that they're telling.
You don't mind them changing the character's origin at all?
Well, we don't know what the character's origin is yet.
But as I said, I think their powers are being derived from the fact that they're humans that are being experimented on.
Well, they have Inhumans, which they say they're born with these abilities, but there's a trigger to create. We've established that, correct?
Yeah.
Stages of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that's not that far from being mutants, in my opinion. Yeah,
but what's that got to do with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch?
So what I'm saying is I'm fine with that. It's not like they got shot into outer space and came back with the powers. It's still born within them.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with it personally.
It's essentially the same thing. They were born with these powers.
No, the Terrigen Mist is what creates the Inhumans.
But it only affects Inhumans. Those who are not Inhumans, they get destroyed. Those that are Inhumans, they get into a cocoon and are reborn with these abilities. But it's in them.
Okay.
All right.
Do you need me to take a quick pass at your geek card, sir?
Ooh.
No, I think you need to accept the fact that they're mutants. Otherwise, I'm taking a pass at your geek card.
I understand they're mutants, but I'm just saying stating that they're mutants and not stating that they're miracles and not mutants is not going to affect my enjoyment of their role in these.
I guess I'm a purist then.
Up until the last 10 to 15 years, it hasn't really been played up that they're mutants.
Like I tell you what, I didn't like the organic web shooters on Spider-Man and the Raimi films. I hated that.
Ah,
It looks like we got another comic historian on the line. Big Sexy and Sack, are you there?
Yes, I am, and I cannot stand the organic web shooters myself.
okay, both of y'all need. Come on, come on.
What do you mean? Come
That-
on, come on.
That's what made Peter Parker the scientific genius. He created
Exactly.
So you try to tell me that at no point in the Raimi films did we not see Peter Parker's scientific genius on display?
The
I don't-
Raimi films were so flawed, man.
Yeah.
You know, come on. First of all, when you threw Mary Jane off the bridge, right there, you got a problem. That did not happen.
Well, she didn't die, so what's the problem? I'm sure Mary Jane has been thrown off a bridge in,
No.
in the comics.
No.
You just in the
Raimi-
50 years of Spider-Man comics, you really gonna try to tell me Mary Jane has not been thrown off a bridge?
Raimi took a pivotal moment in the history of that character, Peter Parker, and fucked it up because when the Goblin threw Gwen Stacy off the bridge and it killed her, that made the character a whole different ballgame. But no, he gets to save Mary Jane, who at best was number 2 behind Gwen Stacy. Raimi's out of his mind.
For
Get
the
him, Mike.
record,
Oh,
for the record, I'm a Mary Jane fan,
clearly.
and I'm not talking about the weed either.
I don't know about that.
All right. Let's see. Where shall we go next? Any other movie, comic stuff before we move forward? You guys got
Did we talk about Luke Cage and Jessica Jones being casted?
yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
Who's playing? I forget who's playing Jessica Jones.
Not the hot woman.
The Kristen Ritter from Breaking Bad and Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment.
Oh, please.
See? That was a mistake. The chick that we saw pictures of a couple weeks ago, yeah. That's
But
who
the
they should
thing-
have got.
Well, the thing is they probably don't want Jessica Jones to be that hot.
Why
Well,
not?
they accomplished their mission then.
Oh,
Why wouldn't they? Why?
I'm just saying you want to be true to the comic. Jessica Jones was kind of homely.
Well, she wasn't homely. She was kind of plain, but she looks like she could take it outside too. And the chick they cast doesn't, really have that whip your ass vibe to her at all.
Now I don't follow Luke Cage that much, but Jessica Jones is his
his
wife
wife.
or lover.
Wife.
How's that gonna play on screen?
Well, for the sisters, it's not gonna play well.
Shocking.
For the white men, it's not gonna play well. What are you talking about?
Boy, can't we
Yeah,
all
that's
just
true.
get
Seriously.
All I know is that sisters was all like, "Oh, he fine. My culture, he fine. That's my Luke Cage." And I'm thinking like, he give it a white woman, right? You do know that, right? I'm just saying.
He's getting this Big Daddy Kane on circa 1986.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, Q.
I'm just saying, when I saw that, I'm thinking like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna wait till they see the television show before I ruin it for them. Then he gets with that skinny ass white girl. Make a baby too.
All right. Let's keep it moving. We gotta touch on Bill, Mr. Cosby again. He is apparently
Pause.
we don't want to touch him. He's not getting a break. The story is not going to die. I believe he's up to like 22 or 23 women. The most recent one came out, I guess, yesterday. Girls, I assume she was a Playboy bunny. She was at the Playboy mansion, Hugh Hefner's house. And she says she woke up and Mr. Cosby was hunched over her feet and had been sucking on her toes, which, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there is.
And she was like, what's going on? He's like, oh, pulls his pants up and leaves. She says she was not raped. She did feel like there was a lot of saliva all over her body, over her breasts, and different things like that. She also claims she saw him pleasuring himself, and this happened in this happened in 2008, which I guess they're saying now this could fall into
2008.
this could fall into it's not past the limitations. What do they call that word? I'm thinking
Statute.
statute of limitations. So it's getting hectic for him. His daughter, one of his daughters, recently has come out and support.
Sandra?
Say that again.
Was it Denise or Sandra? Whoa! Was it Denise or
Okay.
Sandra? They said that Viola Davis is cast as Amanda Waller in Suicide Squad.
I can see that.
There you go. Yeah.
I can see that.
So anyway, his daughter, she's saying, I think she said something about he's Mr. Cosby. He's been the dad of ours for many years on Cosby Show type of thing. What are you doing? And of course, his wife Camille also put out a statement saying that the women who are making these allegations have not been properly vetted yet, and even bringing up comparisons to the recent Rolling Stone scandal that happened where they accused people and had to retract it. She doesn't actually say he didn't do it in her statement either, which is kind of interesting. But she's going to stand by her man, which I would imagine she would. I mean, is still? Oh, no. Another other thing was Bill Cosby did speak. I actually do have this. Mr. Cosby is talking to a reporter who reports with the New York Post, and essentially he says this. He says, "Let me say this: I only expect the black media to uphold the standards of excellence." And when you do that, you have to go in with a neutral mind. Q-Storm.
We have lost Q-Storm.
I'm sorry. Are we talking about gossip or media takeout or World Star Hip Hop? Which one we talking?
Wow. Now, of course, that's not all of the black media does not comprise.
What we got left? What do we have left?
We got Vibe.
Okay.
There's Essence,
Ebony.
Jet, BT, I suppose.
No, we ain't got BT.
There's countless. I would imagine there's. News One, right?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So in other words, he said, "Hey, y'all niggas got my back or nah?"
Yeah, I saw a report just this evening that Kathy Lee Gifford came on and said he tried to kiss me.
Oh yeah.
I'm like.
And then of course Beverly. We didn't talk about this with Beverly Johnson. She came out last week, and she described her situation with him. But I want to go back to the black media standards of excellence thing. I actually think that that's some bullshit for him to say something like that. Like, what does he mean by that? Like,
I thought he was being,
like Ampu just said,
low-key shade.
It is. That's why I don't understand. Like, he's lecturing. Now I want you to hold up the standard when it deals with me or something? Like, why are they normally not holding up the standards? Or
I thought he said he wants them to continue to hold up the standard of excellence. How's that shade?
He said, I only expect
the
black media to uphold the standards of excellence in journalism. And when you do that, you have a neutral mind. But you expect them to do what they already do, or they're not doing that?
I don't see it that way. I think you're putting he expects them to uphold professional journalism. It's like I expect PodcastJuice to continue.
I guess well, why would you say the black media?
Because he's a black person, I would assume.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, but I don't understand. I don't know. It just, to me, it makes. Well, I don't know why he's singling out the black media.
I guess he's saying
they act differently than the other. Is there a separation in the? I'm not saying there isn't. But
Aunt Pooh put it best. He said a little bit more ratchet, but he expects the black media to support him. What's wrong with that?
Think about what you just said there, man.
Yeah.
But that's not journalism, then.
Thank you. That's not journalism, man. He's expecting He's expecting biased coverage. That's bullshit. He never should have said it.
Well, I guess he's saying. I hear where you're coming from. I guess he's saying he should have said all media. I guess, but you know how we always want to fall back on our people to prop us up or to help us out.
He's like, look, y'all had OJ, MJ, Kobe's back. Get your boy. Come get your boy. Hold me down. POP.
Yeah. I'm too busy pulling my pants up. How about that?
Oh.
Oh Lord.
I'm too busy not having multiple kids. Oh wait, that's what you're doing. Nah, you
Wow.
made your bed, you made the bed, and we're gonna report the news just like we report on everybody else. Why you need to call us out? Cause you in trouble? Fuck out of here.
Y'all, all y'all can play that game you want to. You know exactly what he's talking about.
Well, I know what he's
Outta here.
talking about, but that's why I say for him, fuck out.
And it doesn't make it right because we all know what he's talking about, man. It's still bullshit.
Man. See, that's why we can't be great to quote him.
They ain't got nothing. Yeah, because of the clowns like him, man.
Oh, now he's a clown. Oh, now he's a clown.
Yeah, he is a clown.
I thought you were supporting him last week on the show.
What did I say? I said I can't take nothing he says serious. That's a clown to me. You say
That's
one
fine.
thing and you live in another. Now I ain't saying he raped nobody.
Prove that he's not living what he says. Prove it.
Well, again, I'm proving that he obviously is disloyal to his marriage. His values is out of control.
He's
He's telling you to hold these values. Right, but not everyone is lecturing to you to live something that they ain't doing. Now, when they do that, I don't take them serious. That's just me.
When did he lecture against adultery? Not saying it's right, but when did he lecture? Did he lecture against that?
Wasn't in one of his famous ones he talked about the multiple baby mothers and the baby daddies that you people have, and you're not living right? And doesn't he have
I don't remember. Now, I'm not saying he didn't, but I don't remember that. What I remember him talking about was pulling your pants up.
That was one of them.
Talking proper English and valuing education. That's what I recall.
He talked about baby daddies and having all the kids out of wedlock and all that kind of stuff.
Well, he was married when he had the other kids. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's doing the same shit. He got kids out of wedlock. I'm not saying he raped them women, but he's obviously sleeping with all these women or doing something with them because ain't no 23 ain't lying.
And he didn't get the joke.
I didn't.
I said he was married when he had the kids. He just didn't have them with his wife. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. There you go. Which I say, ain't no position to criticize. And for me, he's a clown. That's all I got.
He can take care of all them kids, though.
Yeah, he can. He was giving homeboy the checks to do it.
Yeah.
He was taking care of them girls too. I mean, he's simping. He's simping and tricking, but I don't give nobody props for that.
Wow. Okay.
Simping and tricking.
Tricking. That's right.
So what do you think about Jesse Jackson then? How do you feel about him?
Jesse ain't shit.
Same sort of thing. He got go handle your other kids, Jesse.
If you're listening, Mr. Cosby, and Pooh ain't said none of that.
No. Well, listen, I can separate it. He is an excellent comedian. He's an excellent actor.
Look at him! Look at him now! Look at him!
But I just said I wouldn't take nothing he says serious. I take the entertainment for what it is. Shout out to Ghost Dad. But other than that,
okay. So Mike,
I leave it where
Mike.
Same thing I would say with R. Kelly. Well, boy, it's filthy in the studio, but the personal life, I'm not with it.
So Mike,
Yes, sir.
do you think that black men should pull their pants up?
Depends on the context.
Oh Lord.
Oh. No. Let's explore
Let's go
that.
into that. Yeah,
Let's go into this. Let's expound on that.
Okay, Mike. Listen. Can you tell me a context where men should pull their pants down?
Well, I don't think they should pull them down per se, but I see certain aspects of sagging, not the gang culture of it, but there is a fashion of sagging. Now, I don't have any problem with kids that are not going to job. They could be at the club. I'm giving you my context. I don't see necessarily, it ain't right for me, but for even people my age, if they want to sag and it doesn't affect their livelihood, go at it. That's how you want to wear your clothes. That's your business. Go ahead.
But what if our sons see a kid with their pants sagging? Oh, I want to, and he's thinking, oh, I want to do that too.
What about else? Hell no.
Well, I mean, that's where your father. That's where you as a father would set the tone for what you want going on. So that's what you would do.
But wouldn't that make you hypocritical too?
Again, I said other people. I said men my age
Wait,
or
wait,
other
wait.
kids.
Wait.
I govern over what my children do. I don't govern over what everybody else's
No,
kids
but
or other grown men do. I don't govern that.
you're saying it's fine if other men sag, but
Right.
you won't let your son do it.
Right, because I'm in control. Other men can do what they want to do.
But won't I see? I don't want to say your son. I'm gonna put my son out there too. I'm not
You
gonna
can
say
put
no.
my son. It's fine. I'm good.
I'm just saying this. If I tell my son you cannot let your pants sag,
Right.
and then another dude walks down the street and he says, "Daddy, his pants are sagging." Well, that's all right for him. He's okay. I would tell my son, yeah, he shouldn't be doing it either.
Well, again, that's what you could tell them, but at the end of the day, you have no control over what that dude does.
I know. I don't have.
If I tell my son to do something, and he has a question, then you're questioning my authority. You're gonna do what I tell you to do because I told you to do it. It's simple as that.
Do as I do, not as I do as
Well,
I
I didn't
say.
say
not as
I
do.
wasn't. I didn't say I was sagging. I said you're gonna do what I do. What the world outside this house does, I have no control over that. But I do have a control of what you will do until you become of age.
I know, but if you're not telling your son or our sons that's inappropriate, then what kind of message are you sending to them?
I'm sending them that you need to follow leadership and follow my rules. So if
Well,
I tell my son, listen, if I tell my son I don't want you smoking weed, well, Dad, it's legal. That's fine. But what did I tell you to do? And as long as you live here, you're going to follow these rules. The laws outside this door could tell you that it's legal to smoke.
It's not about.
But you're not going to do that because that's what I said. I don't care what he may think. Why can they do it? Well, they ain't me, and they're not here, so it doesn't matter what they think.
I'm saying it's about being consistent.
Well, you're consistent. The only consistent is you'll do what I tell you.
I'm having a flashback being a kid. That sounds like my mom back when I was a kid. You know, well, those guys are doing it. I don't care what they do. You know, I care what you do, and you're not doing that.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's it. Now, when you become an age and you start paying rent in here, or you move, you do everything that you're responsible. You can go do what you want to do, and hopefully my values will follow you. But that's your choice at that point. You don't have no choice. That's why you're here.
You said earlier. You said earlier that if a young man wants to sag and it doesn't affect his job, I'm down with it. That's what you said.
I did say that.
Yeah, a young man, not Lucas though.
I didn't say
Lucas. Why would you be down with something that you don't want your children to be down with?
Sure, I'll explain it. Because my kid doesn't have all of the common sense and doesn't have the life experience and may not know the history of certain things. So until he's able to have a rational understanding of how it may look to other people, he's not in a place to make that sort of decision and take that responsibility. I am. A grown man or another man outside, my assumption is that he knows what he's getting himself into. And if a man wants to make a choice to do that, hey, he's to deal with the consequences. That's on him. He's an adult. He can do whatever you want to do.
I said, but you said, wait, I see you're changing it up. That's on him. Okay, that's on him. Go ahead, man.
Okay, Q, here's a question. Now, are we to assume that you are not partaking? We're going to go ahead and assume that you've seen some porn lately, correct?
What the fuck?
Just humor me here. Have you or have you not watched porn within the last year?
Okay, yes, I have.
But
the last month.
Would you be okay with your child watching porn?
Would I be okay with my child or with my grown child? With my grown
No.
No, I would not be okay with my child watching porn.
Same thing.
It's not the same. What I'm saying is, Mike, if your son were grown and wanted to sag, would you be okay with that?
That's his business. Doesn't matter if I'm okay with it. He's a grown person. He got to make the decision. He's a man. You want to do it.
You didn't answer the question.
I said it doesn't matter if I'm okay with it.
But it may not matter. But I'm asking, would you be?
If he was grown, he wanted to do it. If that's his decision, yeah.
Okay.
Again, they're gonna do what they want to do at that point.
Mike, I know that. I know that your decision, what you think, would not matter. I know what you think would not matter either way. But I'm still asking, what would you think?
Again, it depends on the context of what he's doing.
Here
if
we
he's sagging,
go.
If he's sagging at the job, probably not a good look unless that's his company. Then you can do what you want to do. I've been in places where it's been the guy's company and they sagging, but he's the boss. What am I going to tell him?
I'm talking about your son.
Right. I just told you the context. I told you the context is what I would make the decision. If he's at his job, probably not the good look. If it is his business, then he's gonna do what the hell you want to do.
So you'd be okay with him sagging at his business?
Yeah, that's his shop, man. I ain't got nothing. I don't care. Hey, you're doing it good. Keep doing you. I mean, there's a lot of successful people that are sagging. There's a lot of people that are not.
But those people don't have the talents that we don't have. So it's different.
Say that one more time, bro.
Those people have talents. Those people have talents that we do not currently possess.
That may be true.
Okay.
How is it amazing?
I mean, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, me.
Like Jay-Z, that dude has a talent that's making him millions of dollars that we do not possess. Therefore, he can't sag.
Sure.
And it's the same way that when I had this conversation, like, oh, you don't need to go to college with this dumb brown. Anyway, she was telling me, you waste your time going to college. Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, they dropped out of college. They didn't need college. And it's like, well, them motherfuckers built $1 billion company. They built a product with coding to build $1 billion empire. I ain't got that shit. I needed to go to college.
All right.
Again, what I'm suggesting is that what people can do shouldn't determine what we think is right or wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
He can do it. Yeah, that's his decision. Cool. Yeah, I can still say, yo, that's not really. I'm not with that.
Well, I think it's a personal thing. You know, it's a preference. To me, it's a style choice. For some, it's more. Again, it just depends to me on the context. I can't just blanketly say I'm against it because I don't. I've seen people who are far more successful than me that I've seen personally.
All right.
They seem to be wearing that, and they're doing their thing. Some people I've seen gangsters do it too. But it is what it is.
Mark, Big Sexy.
Yep.
What's your take on this, man? Please inject some common sense into this.
Oh, so now we ain't got no common sense. Wow.
Please. Anybody that says they okay with someone pulling their showing their ass and their draws, I'm sorry.
For the record, I have evolved on this.
Oh Lord.
Oh. And please enlighten us. Come on,
I said I've evolved on the matter and believe
How so?
that people shouldn't be sagging. That's some shit from the mid 80s to 95, 96. It's a new day and age. Why the fuck are you sagging with a belt around your ass, walking around with that shit out like that? Like, dude, no.
So you saying they shouldn't sag because it's not fashionable?
Yes.
Okay.
My argument make more sense than yours.
It has nothing to do with it's just inappropriate. It looks silly. You're exposing yourself. It's just it's not in fashion anymore.
It was never in fashion. That's the thing.
It was in fashion.
Oh, it is definitely in fashion. It was.
No.
You
fashion?
hate to say it, but it was.
No, it was a trend, but I would not call it a fashion.
Okay, well, we can call it a trend.
If I see it on the cover of GQ magazine, then it's fashion. That didn't happen.
They don't have a lot of things that are in fashion.
That's true.
Come on.
Oh, it's still not fashionable. Come on.
Was the gold medallion? I mean, the black medallion, not on GQ magazine?
You mean the African medallion? You mean the African medallion?
The black medallion. I remember the song "Black Medallion," no gold. Yeah, I know the song. Go ahead.
The fuck are you talking about?
He lost
saying lyrics to you, but go ahead and make your point.
Okay. On a roll, black medallion,
no gold. Hanging out with Pops, hanging out with Mace, buddy, all in your face. All right, go ahead, Flo Church.
The only hippest guy on this panel. Only other.
You quoting De La Soul and they quoted Mace and you call yourself hip? Please. Mace? They dropped Mace?
Not Mace from Diddy and them. I don't know who that Mace was they was talking about.
Mace and De La Soul. He's one of the members of De La Soul.
Oh, Mace, yeah. There you go, that dude.
But anyway, go ahead, Big Six.
The whole, draws fetish And again, let me go on the record. What consenting adults do what you do. Handle your business, whatever. But I do believe in the slammer. That means you're open for business.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to take something that says you're open for business, and you're not open for business, people are going to think that you're open for business. And don't nobody want to see your drawers in public anyway. It's a double standard here.
I know, but we know that the guys sagging on the street are not saying they're open for business in the context of prison. We all know that, right? Even though that you may think that's where it comes from, or even if it does come from, that doesn't mean that's what they're doing. Just like the same way somebody can say the N-word, and they're not saying it the same way some racist slave masters said it back then. These kids are not saying it the same way. You don't agree with it, but let's be clear. We know that's not what their intention is, whether you think it's wrong or right.
But it's born of the same ignorance.
Bingo.
Same ignorance, right? But it doesn't mean they want to be raped. I'm just saying it's not a.
Because they're ignorant. They don't know what it means.
Some of them do know what it means because some of them have been in prison or some of them have been in gangs. It is also a gang culture thing too.
So why would they do it if they know what it means because they've been in the prisons?
Because for those, I'm saying for a lot of the kids, you may not think it is. It is a trend fashion thing for a lot of these young kids that do it. They're not doing it to say that they're gangbangers. They're not doing it to say that they're gay. They think that looks cool.
But it's also a health hazard too.
It may be a health hazard. I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm just telling you the mindset for some of those kids. They just think it looks cool.
And they're being ignorant is what I'm saying.
They may be, but them being ignorant doesn't mean that they are doing it to be criminals, or it doesn't mean that they're doing it to be gay. It just means that they may be ignorant.
They're doing it because they don't want to be employed.
They're not doing it for that. A lot of them aren't employed. That's the thing.
Where are they working?
As I just said, I've seen people at businesses.
Where?
I'm not gonna drop these people's companies out there. I've seen Amazon. I'll say because I've worked.
Really cute.
I've seen them in Amazon doing it.
Well, let me stop.
I have seen it in that the biggest e-commerce place in the world.
I'm guessing they didn't have corner offices. Would I be correct?
Well, no one has office there. But.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Open floor plans, sir.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
I mean, I'm just saying you can't. Everyone doesn't fall under the same blanket. Though I understand why you don't like sagging, and I understand your reasons why, and it do make sense to me.
It's like the argument for having a tattoo, or let me rephrase that. It's the argument for people having their arms sleeved up. If that's what they want to do, fine. They're not going to work in my office, but if that's how they want to roll and they have their own deal, so be it. It's just not something that I particularly care for.
I agree. The same sort of thing. It's a choice. I think for us, our people, I'm gonna be tribal here. I can understand why. You know what? We may think it's in our best interest. Why don't you just suit it down? Why don't you come proper? Because we already got enough stuff to deal with. So I get that. But I don't know how we got on this topic.
Because y'all were throwing shade to Bill Cosby.
It's your fault, Michael.
Oh, Bill Cosby. That's right.
I'm too busy.
That's what I said. Pull the pants up. That's right.
I guess we shouldn't speak proper English either, right?
Oh, come on now.
I didn't say all that.
That's what Bill Cosby said. He said.
Well, that's one of the things he said. And again, I said I agree with all the stuff, the points, and the reasoning behind what he said. I agree with it. I'm just saying, I'm not going to go all into it, but when you are the one actually doing some of that, you might want to present yourself first and say, hey, you know what? I need to do this. I'm with you. But don't be saying you didn't do it and you telling other people how to live, but you're the one actually in secret. Now you got 23 people coming out saying you did something crazy. I can't take him serious. I'm not saying he's not a bad actor. He's a great actor. He's a great comedian. He's a great entertainer.
I don't give a damn about him acting. I'm talking about his message.
Well, that's what I say. I don't take the message serious. I already had common sense, so he didn't tell me nothing new.
Okay.
So I ain't gonna give him no medal for telling me some shit. Take care of your kids, nigga. So really?
He wasn't talking to you. He wasn't.
No, that's why I don't take him serious. I'm only speaking for me.
Wow.
You can hold him up and do what you got to do.
Well, all right. I guess
All right.
I guess we'll be talking more we'll be on some more ebonics and pulling our
please.
pants down because
Oh, please.
Bill Cosby's been discredited.
If you put all that saber-tooth, I'm making up words. If you put all that on his words, hey, you follow right along with that church, my friend. But
Well, if it's the Church of Common Sense, I'm gonna follow it.
common sense will tell you not to have 23 women coming at you. That's common sense.
Common sense says you get your pimp game strong. That's what you do.
You should have kept them checks a little more plentiful and kept them women quiet. That's what pimp sense would have told them, but apparently you don't have that. Anyway.
Or you get that Diddy one side chick forever.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
One badass one at that. Nah, you can't do that right.
Too greedy.
Shout out to Diddy.
Okay, let's get off of Mr. Cosby because we're not being fair and neutral. We're not being professional. Apparently. What else do we got going on here in the news? I think we would have ran through everything I had up here, actually. I wanted to quickly ask you guys, have you heard any of the D'Angelo album yet?
I have not.
I saw that it was available for download over at HD Tracks in high resolution, so I will be picking that up only because, Mike, you speak so highly of this cat, and I am not familiar. Yeah, I am not familiar with his work other than the two big singles he had. So I'm curious at the very least. So I want to take a listen to it and see what's going on, and I'm curious to see how the review goes when you guys do that. But I'm not listening to it as of now.
I think track number 2 was recorded very loudly. The end, it damn near blew my ears out. I ain't that old, sir.
I'm talking about 1,000 Deaths, I believe.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling that he could get the scream. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. Turn that mic down some, son.
Wow.
Sugar Daddy,
go ahead.
Yeah, but Sugar Daddy, that one, I'm feeling that one. That's a good one. But and somebody was talking about this on Twitter, and we got into it a little earlier. It's like that whole little vibe where the little singing cadence that he has, it's kind of off-putting, to say the least.
Awkward.
Kind of hard to understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I think he only has one mode of singing well in, and a whole album of that, I just like, okay, yeah, I need something different.
Who put up that meme? Did y'all see that meme? It was a Prince meme. He says, y'all waited 14 years for 12 songs.
Yeah, I put that on there. Well, I will say this, for all access members, I put up my thoughts on this album, and I really talked about the comparisons between Prince and D'Angelo, or Sly Stone for that matter. And you're starting to see a lot of people like on the org and different things, and people are like comparing this to Prince's album that just came out. And I'm saying, you know what, you really can't compare these two as much as you want to, as much as sometimes I want to and do. This guy is only on his 3rd album, and it took him 14 years to get to this 3rd album. If you were to go back and take Prince's 3rd album, which was Dirty Mind, and try to compare Prince to whoever was the legends at that time, and in the podcast I say that, Stevie Wonder came out with an album that same year, Hotter Than July, which had some cuts on it. Sly Stone came out with an album the year before. Nobody was saying Prince is shitting all over Stevie or Sly at that time. They was like, hey, this cat's doing his thing. Who is this cat? This is dope. But they weren't saying that Stevie lost it or Sly lost it and all that kind of stuff. It was like, you know what? They're all good in their own realm, And I think with this D'Angelo thing, the easy thing is to say, oh, Prince hasn't made an album like this in such and such long and all that kind of stuff. Dude, Princeton had, 40-something albums.
Damn.
And, you know what I mean? Thousands of songs he has done. He don't need to really do nothing. But the fact that he did put out pretty enjoyable 2 albums this year, he's good. He's in a different place. D'Angelo's really just starting. So it's unfair to both of them. And you know, if you in the podcast I play Blondie by The Time, and I show you the comparisons between that song and the song Charade that's on the D'Angelo record. And even at the beginning of the Charade song, he references the unreleased Prince song The Line from the Love Sexy days, and they exactly start the same way. Like, whoa. So it's obvious like D'Angelo is heavy Prince head. He's really going into these records and miming different things and creating his music from him. So he's a disciple of Prince. He is in no way out Princing Prince. He is everything he's learned. Well, not everything, but obviously a huge part of what his foundation is based off of Prince stuff. So, hopefully he can have a long career of a body of work, that he can be squarely judged on, and maybe one day he'll be a legend like the other guys, right? But at the end of the day, this is only his 3rd record, and he took a long time to put it out. I don't think he worked on the whole album this long because a lot of those songs that came out a long time ago, but it's a good album. I like it. The more you listen to it, the better it gets.
Hold it. What's this Prince song, The Line? I'm not familiar with this one.
You are. It is The Line, dun, 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 dun. It's actually on the that bootleg that Prince has, and it has the cover of the 2nd album.
Oh, okay. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's a song with Sheila's on it, Bonnie, I believe. But yeah, you can hear he obviously was listening to that and did that. But yeah, D'Angelo got some good stuff, man. It's not mainstream R&B or anything. These guys are actually playing the music and they're taking chances and doing different things. And the music is good, so I give them credit for that. Yeah. All right.
Well, he said that he's going to do about 100,000 in the first week.
That's good. That's good.
Now, on the music issue, since we seem to run out of things to talk about, Q and I, and Anthony to a lesser extent, have been debating what is and what isn't a classic album.
All right.
And I'm of the opinion, and I'm going to get mail on this, but I'm of the opinion that Thriller is not a classic album. It's a great album, but it's not a classic. And Q disagrees vehemently with me.
I certainly do.
Well, I would say it's a classic album, but I'm curious, what are you rating this on? What do you?
I am looking at it strictly through the lens of the entire album. I'm not looking at social impact. I'm looking at it as a creative expression. I think Off the Wall is a classic album because as an album, it holds up a lot better than Thriller. To me, you take the 2 massive hits off Thriller, everything else is meh. Q disagrees. Again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I don't think the other songs on that album hold up nearly as well as the ones on Off the Wall.
I'm curious. What are the 2 songs that you? Yeah. What are the 2 songs that you think are the?
Please, the obvious 2 of the monsters. Beat It and Billie Jean.
What about Thriller?
What about Thriller? No.
See, I would actually say the best song on that record to me would be Human Nature.
I'll give Human Nature, but PYT, come on now.
That's dope. No. That's a burner, man. Come
that
on.
Is not a burner.
Wow, Mark.
You can play that to this day, and people will be like, "Hey."
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Mr. Dean. The best song on the album is "Lady in My Life."
That's a jam too.
That is not a jam.
Whatever.
Well, see, we are on totally different sides.
Lady in My Life is his Adore.
Oh, well, flag on the play. No way.
You heard me.
I heard you. You're wrong.
Heard me.
I would agree.
No.
Unfortunately, it doesn't get that play, but that's his best ballad. I'm not saying it can go toe to toe with Adore.
Thank you.
But
Speak to
it's
that.
up there.
Speak.
I said it's his Adore.
That's his best ballad. Yes, absolutely. I think that's all he's saying, Big Sexy. But yeah,
Bah and humbug.
Wow.
I mean,
I don't know. I would say Thriller is a classic, personally, but
I guess in hindsight I can give it to him, but I just don't think it's as good as Off the Wall.
I think Off the Wall is better. I do agree with that. But I think they're both
I'd have to
classics.
I'm sorry, I'd have to disagree with Off the Wall being better.
And he goes back to type, being wrong as usual.
Whatever. I'm sorry. Okay.
Sweet.
Hold on. Let me pull up Off the Wall and Thriller's.
Let's go. The track list? You want to do this?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yes, y'all.
Hold up. To the break, y'all.
Yeah.
I ain't that young, sirs. Okay.
Well,
track one, we got.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, on Off the Wall, track one is "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" versus "Wanna Be Starting Something."
That's a wash.
Yeah,
They're pretty much the same vibe here, so come on now.
I give slight edge to "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough," in my opinion.
Okay.
Track two is totally unfair. "Baby Be Mine" on Thriller, "Rock With You" on Off the Wall.
I think we know how that
Okay,
lines
now
up.
listen. Baby Be Mine is the jam. It's just, unfortunately, you're pairing it with Rock With You.
I would agree. I agree with that.
I don't agree with it at all, and Rock With You crushes it regardless.
All right, number three off the Wall is "Working Day and Night." Number three off Thriller, "The Girl Is Mine."
Okay, all right, okay. Although I like "The Girl Is Mine,"
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
The doggone girl is mine. Hey.
The
I'll rock with
problem
it.
I have with this is that the film Brown Sugar totally fucked
Yes.
this song up.
The whole
When they did the
line. Weren't they wearing dog costumes too?
Mhm.
I cannot remember.
The
Yeah,
hoe is mine.
Naggers.
yeah. Actually, one of them was white. One of them was white.
Waggers. And before you go on, for those that are still watching, if you can, tell us in the comments what you think it is. Just type either Thriller or Off the Wall. All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna imagine half of the listeners haven't even heard Off the Wall.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Well, Aunt Pooh hadn't heard it until the review.
No, I hadn't heard the full album. I heard the main.
Which means you haven't heard the album.
Man, shut up.
That was Q-Storm, by the way. So if you got in the comments, let them know you've heard it.
Okay, number four. We definitely got a win for Thriller easily. Number four off the Wall is "Get on the Floor." And off Thriller.
Shit.
Get on the floor all
Get
day.
on the floor. It's the cut, man.
All day.
You are wrong.
You gotta be kidding me.
You are wrong. That is the cut.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, Thriller. Come on, y'all. Really? I mean,
Thriller is alright to me.
it's a hard choice, but I gotta go with Thriller.
No, it's not a hard choice.
Not hard. In my opinion, and this is like, to me, Mike closed out Thriller with the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tracks. Seriously.
Start closing.
Yeah, I think he closed it out. Number 5 is Off the Wall up against. Damn, Need It.
Now, see, this is good. This is good because you have two different types of vibe here. You got Off the Wall, which is the adult contemporary, cool out, and Beat It, which is just insanity, which is great. But longevity, I gotta go with Off the Wall. And a shade, I'll take Off the Wall.
I really think this is unfair to compare these albums this way.
I agree with you. Again.
Well, if you could do a better way, let me know.
Well, you can't go song for song like that because some of the songs are just totally different vibes, and you know what I mean. You got to take the whole package. That's the only way you can judge something like this because some of these songs aren't going to match up.
Well, hey, you can tell which we go at the end, which had more over the
Go
other.
ahead. Yeah.
All I'm saying. That's it. It's not perfect science, exact science. I have to go with, and I'm not even a big fan of Beat It, so I have to go off the wall on that.
There you go. See, you're coming
Number
around, Q.
six,
Come on out. Come on, Anthony. Come on.
number six off the wall, Girlfriend versus Billie Jean.
Okay.
I'll give you that one.
No contest.
I go for Girlfriend personally. Girlfriend is
Oh.
banging.
You joking, right, Mike? Mike,
So Michael, just think about this for a minute. MJ went from, hey yo, I fucked your bitch, so you better go this whole to, hey, I didn't fuck that bitch. The girl ain't my child. Make up your mind, Mike.
Girlfriend. I'm gonna tell your boyfriend. Man, that shit is dope to me.
Mike,
Tell him what it means
Hold
to
on.
me.
hold on. I want to make sure. I want to get you on the record.
Yes, sir.
You're saying you prefer "Girlfriend," which is a great song, over Billie Jean, his quintessential signature song.
Yes. And I do not disagree with you. That is his coincidence. I mean, that's his signature song.
And they can't even say it.
I know, because quintessential. Get off my.
Wow. I want the listeners to respond to that bullshit. Wow.
But yes, I agree. That's the quintessential song from Mike. But I do prefer Girlfriend better.
I can't believe what I'm. Okay. All right.
He's just trying to prove that Off the Wall is better. That's all he's doing.
I just like that album better. That's all.
But the thing is, if you say that to any of us, because we're all pretty good Prince heads, if you ask us all what the quintessential Prince song is, it still may be something. We'll just say Purple Rain for argument's sake. Not my favorite song, not by a damn stretch. So I can still make
Exactly.
it fun.
All right. I mean, I would say it's quintessential. Yeah, I agree. His quintessential song would be "When Doves Cry," but I like "Computer Blue" better.
Yeah, it's Purple Rain. It is Purple Rain. All right, hold on just a sec, fellas. Let me tweet this out. We are an
He's got the flyers on Twitter.
social media.
Interactive.
All right, number 7 off the wall. She's Out of My Life versus Human Nature.
Human Nature.
Oh, Human Nature, hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I'm gonna have to pull the Sinead O'Connor card
What?
again. And go with
Oh Lord
Out
have
of My
mercy.
Life.
What?
Because that is probably the second greatest emotional singing Mike has ever did on She's Out of My Life. He's being Man in the Mirror.
Okay.
Number 8, I Can't Help It. Oh, damn.
See,
Versus PYT.
I
I
can't
can't help it. But I mean, they're both excellent to me. But
Damn. Yeah, that's
that would be like, to me, it'd have been crazier. You put I Can't Help It versus Human Nature.
Ooh.
I think I might have to go with PYT.
Well, I can't be mad at you.
All right, number 9, It's the Falling in Love versus The Lady in My Life.
No question.
Ooh.
No
Okay.
question.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
I give it to Lady, but I do love It's Falling in Love.
Oh, you killed
But I don't
me,
live
Mike.
it over. I say I like Lady better.
You big softy.
Well, Off the Wall had one more track, Burn This Disco Out, but I mean, we ain't got to discuss that one.
Yeah, well, no, we can let that one go. So I believe, and again, this is an unfair head-to-head comparison, but Off the Wall stands triumphant.
No, it doesn't. Just because they're better. I mean, see, I don't think it's fair to say an album is a classic just based on the material on the album.
What?
Think about what you just said.
What the fuck is so funny about that?
Okay, Q, you're a film guy. That's me saying, well, I don't think a film should be judged based on the content of the film alone.
No, I said only.
Okay, only on the content of the film alone. Come on, man.
I think what makes an album a classic is its staying power, its relevance in pop culture, in music.
No,
What?
Okay, I put this to you. What's the album? 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying.
Oh. Okay, what?
I consider that a classic.
Okay, what?
Oh,
What about it? What about it?
I was gonna say, would you call that a classic? I mean, it definitely was at its time. It was a big head buster, a dance grooving album. It definitely started a whole new West Coast ushered in era. It brought back Dr. Dre. Cultural significance.
It is a classic.
But like 14 years later, I'm like, whatever. Nah, I say nah.
Would you say The Chronic is a classic album?
Yes.
Yes. I'm not fighting for Get Rich or Die Trying. I'm just saying at that time people would say that's a classic album. 14 years later, you're like, nah.
But as somebody
at that time it had significance.
Generationally, that is a classic.
Ask someone about Thriller. They'll say 14 years later, or however many years later it is, they would still say, yeah, that's a dope album. They're not going to, as opposed to 50 Cent's album. Well, so what are you proving? You're proving 50 Cent's album is not a classic. That's what you proved.
But I'm saying at its time, they would have all these things going with it. But
right, at its time, Taylor Swift today, you could say she's a classic. 14 years from now, no one's going to be talking about her. So that was not a classic album, 1989.
Because you're going by impact, and I'm saying that, okay, yeah, Thriller has that impact, but you know what? Get Rich or Die Trying had impact at the time, even 5 years at the time. But
what I'm saying, Ampu, is that the fact that it does not have impact today means it's not a classic. Thriller still has an impact today.
But I don't think you can say that if an album doesn't have impact today, it doesn't mean it's a classic. Obviously, there are a lot of great albums that may not necessarily be impacting today, but they would be considered classic albums. I mean, there's a lot of great artwork. Well, I'm talking about older stuff. I'm not talking about newer stuff.
Okay.
I don't think you should call new stuff classic.
I'm just saying, if you like, okay, Big Sexy, no offense, but you listen to a lot more rock than I do.
Okay, I'm not going to be offended by that.
Well, okay, whatever. So if I were to say, well, I don't know Led Zeppelin songs, and that's heavy. It's not heavy metal, but that's rock material. That'd be like me saying, well, none of those songs or albums could be classic because I don't think the songs are that good. That's what I'm saying. You can't judge an album being classic strictly based on the content of the album because I might not be familiar with ska, reggae, or anything. That doesn't mean those albums aren't classic albums.
Well, shout out to at Chlorine Bacon Skin. She says Thriller. She prefers Thriller over Off the Wall.
You can't do that back about.
Okay. She was your homegirl till she said.
You're gonna find that a lot of people are gonna say that. No surprise.
We shall see.
I think Thriller is obviously was a bigger record and it had such an impact, but I think artistically,
that's the word I was trying to
Off
find.
the Wall is a better made album, but they are both classic albums, in my opinion. I just think in artistic level, in my opinion, Off the Wall was just hands down better.
A classic album to me, and I can use those two, I can use 1999 versus Purple Rain. Off the Wall came out, Mike still had to work for a living. He put in the work because he had to. When he did Thriller, he was already pretty much, Mega Man. Okay? So when a person has different types of pressures on them, they tend to be a little more creative and a little more risk-taking, which is, if I look at 1999 and you look at Purple Rain is completely tame compared to 1999. It just is.
So you're saying a black artist back in the 80s.
And here's the word black again.
Hold on.
Okay, come on.
You're talking about risk. You're thinking that a black artist putting a rock song on his album is not a risk? Back in the 80s?
No. First of all, Beat It. You talking about Beat It?
Yes, yeah.
First of all, that was manipulated to the nth degree. If there's one rock guitarist you're going to get who's going to cross every line, it's Eddie Van Halen. That was genius to get Eddie. Now, had he got like somebody that is known,
Eddie Van Halen,
everybody knew who Eddie was because they were off the whole 1984 tour with Jump and all that. People knew who Eddie was. Trust me. Now, if he'd gotten someone like one of the cats from Def Leppard, for instance, they would have said, who? No. Eddie was the only choice to make. Plus, his style is so distinctive. Anybody hears that knows it's Eddie. That wasn't a risk at all.
That doesn't. What?
That was not a risk at all.
I disagree.
That was a genius move of marketing. Plus, creativity was a genius. It was not a risk at all.
But the song.
The statement that I'll make on Thriller is I think Thriller ruined him in the sense that he was always chasing it, and he always had to sequence or find songs that had that Thriller vibe to him. He had to have his rocker. He had to have his
exactly.
He had to have his ballad. He had
that may be true. I don't disagree with you, but that has nothing. That's irrelevant to whether or not Thriller is a classic album.
We were just talking top line stuff.
Shots.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Yes. And for the record, Bad is his best album.
Okay, you're out of your mind right now.
Wow.
Whatever, sir.
Bad?
It's bad. Bad. Now, he shouldn't have named the album Bad. He damn sure shouldn't have led with his first video being bad, but the rest of that shit is fire.
Well, I tell you what, let's do this if we can. Everybody here, this should be easy. Can you name 2 albums to you that are classic albums? Anything? Maybe it's not that easy.
To me?
Yeah, just 2 classic albums to you.
Off the top of my head, Sign of the Times and What's Going On, Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
I would go with Purple Rain and Death Certificate.
I don't know if I can do that, man. I got to put Thriller up there, and then I'm going to say, golly. Okay, if I had a gun to my head and I had to answer right now, I'll take Songs in the Key of Life.
Ooh,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah. Top of my head, I would say Dirty Mind. And again, this is a classic for me. The first Star Wars album, the John Williams.
Yeah, Mike went left field on us.
Oh, it's something that I still play to this day, heavy.
Oh, no, wait. I didn't. Okay.
Thank you, fucked it up.
Wait. I didn't know that.
No, hold on. What I was going to say was...
It's not the only just 2 classics that come to your mind. That's all.
2 classics.
Okay. Well, Songs in the Key of Life might not be on my... I put that out there because I'm saying it's a classic album. It may not be on my list of 2. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can give you...
It's not a list of 2, just 2, man.
Oh, well then, okay. Songs in the Key of Life.
Okay, that's a great choice, man. Don't get me wrong. It's a great fucking album.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess going back to, the classic joints and what are classics, a lot of this will be what we decide are classics, and they may be different than what sort of, what we think everybody else or what we think certain industries would call classics. Like some albums that are deemed classics, I haven't probably even heard yet. Some of the like Beatles stuff or Led Zeppelin or something, but I do recognize that they're classic albums.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Big Road.
Yeah.
Revolver.
Yeah.
Well, see, a lot of people think Nirvana's classic. I do not, but a lot of people do, and that's cool, But I was not a fan of them. And looking at the recent inductees for next year's Hall of Fame class, Green Day, no. But apparently there are enough people like them, and they got in. So congratulations.
Yeah, I think we're getting to the point now where albums are so slim picking in terms of like the whole album that people can all sort of unite around. It's easy now for people to just, that's classic,
Yes.
They ain't been out, and I'm not dogging the D'Angelo. I love D'Angelo, but I'm not calling them no classic. Like, it ain't been out 2 or 3 days yet. Like, let's see how you feel a little bit down the road. Are you still listening to those songs? Are they still doing what they got to do? So we call classics now so easy these days that they ain't put in no work. These songs ain't had no longevity. Are they bringing up generational nostalgia when you hear certain songs? Now, That's what classics to me. Like, oh, I remember when we used to rock that. Yeah, that song was there. Okay, that was the cut. You know. So I don't know. We throw the classic thing, even with movies. You know, we're quick to say some of the greatest movies. What? So nigga, that movie just came out 5 years ago. Really? Like, let's see how you feel about it in 10 years. So, and we're gonna be covering movies too. You know, so that's another big one. Like, what is a classic movie?
Godfather.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's just.
But I might say something that you might not think's a classic, but it might be a classic to me.
Babylon AD.
No. But how you say Godfathers, and that is a classic. But in my heart, like my classic in that genre would be Menace. But I do recognize how it wouldn't be Menace if there wasn't a Godfather. It wouldn't be a Menace.
I'll give you Menace.
Menace to Society. Yeah, I'd say that's the.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That was the hood Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go Anthony again. Here we go.
Nah. It had its moments, but not overall classic. For me, the classic is Friday.
That's a classic.
That's an actual a day in the life of South Central. I would agree. I relate to that. That's more to me. That's more. Friday is more relatable to a day in the life of South Central than Menace to Society ever could be. And I lived in the hood.
Yeah, I'm not questioning the relatability of it. I'm just speaking purely on just the movie and my enjoyment. But I love Friday. Like, I think that is a classic. That is probably one of the last real funny movies that I can always say something from the movie. You know, oh, remember that part? Where a lot of these new comedies, you don't even remember half the shit.
Every time you turn around, you're doing something for me. Now, Bye Felicia is the thing.
Yeah, you're right. Q, you got any classic movies?
Hell yeah.
Q's the film guy. He's gonna blow us away.
Godfather, Raging Bull.
Watching, going what?
So what?
You said Big Sexy called you the film guy, and I said, Sean is watching, going what?
Oh shit.
Sean has left a couple of comments on the page.
Shout out to Sean.
When we first started, he said naggers. And then he wrote "This is the end." I guess when we were talking about that.
As a classic? Oh, okay.
Oh, this was
No, I'd say, man, it's a Godfather, Jaws. Damn, I just thought about Raging Bull, Goodfellas.
I've never seen that movie.
What, Raging Bull?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you guys are slipping, man.
I think it's on Netflix.
I think you're right. I would say, well, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. Well, Star Wars is the classic film, but I prefer Empire Strikes Back. I don't know if that's a classic. It's a classic in my book.
It's a classic.
I'd say Annie Hall, Manhattan.
Oh, you pulled out the Woody Allen card. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just cannot support Woody Allen.
Has he been convicted of anything?
Okay.
Let it go. Let it go, man. Let it go.
I ain't saying nothing.
Hey, yeah. Bill Cosby can be convicted in the court of public opinion. God damn it, so can Woody Allen.
And he both been convicted. Man.
Yes, they have been convicted.
Wrongfully convicted.
No, not Woody. Not Woody. Come on now. He gonna smash his girlfriend's adopted daughter? Come on now. You don't find anything wrong.
Continue, Q-Star.
Let's move on. Yeah, let's get off that.
I guess even when I'm listing my own movies, it starts some shit. I would say Wall Street, which is my own.
I haven't seen that one either.
Damn. What? Okay, well, I can't help you.
If you said Ferris Bueller, I'm there with you.
Of course. Now here's what.
What's supposed to mean, homeboy? That's a classic.
Right, I know.
Sure enough.
Now, Big Sexy's not gonna like my next classic. It's not one of my top 10, but it's a classic. Is E.T.
It is a classic.
No, it's a classic. I don't like it, but it's a classic. I'll give you that. I mean, just on the impact alone, it's a classic. But just, yeah.
That's all I can come up with off the top of my head. I mean, I have my top 10, but I wouldn't necessarily call them all classics. Like Boys in the Hood, I don't know if that would be a classic.
That's a classic.
It is.
Is it?
You need more classic. No blaxploitation films. No Mac. No
Do
shit.
the Right Thing.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
that's to be required.
I was
viewing.
actually thinking that'd be one we might want to do at some point too,
I'm down for that.
possibly. Yeah. You know, as you were saying your list, Q, it make me think like, man, Spielberg's got a lot of classic movies under his belt.
He's a billionaire, so
Would you call the Indiana Jones series classic?
I would
Series?
the first one I would call
The
classic.
first one, yeah.
the third one too, Last Crusade. Yeah,
Nah.
No.
Uh-uh.
No.
But yeah, I mean the first two. I like the first three movies are really great movies. I would consider the first one a classic.
All right.
But I mean, he's got that. You said E.T., Jaws.
Now, and to be honest, I didn't really like Jaws even that much, but it is a classic.
Hey, watch it.
And I say it's a classic, not necessarily because of the film itself, but also, I mean, I know a lot of people liked it. I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't my favorite. But that movie ushered in the age of the blockbuster, so I give it props on that as a classic.
Was that before Poseidon Adventure? I thought that was the really age of the blockbuster.
I think it was after, but most people consider Jaws the real first blockbuster.
I need a definition on that because I mean, you do realize the highest grossing film all time per capita is Gone with the Wind.
I
Yeah,
love
but
you
it
said
wasn't
per capita.
It wasn't a blockbuster when it came out. That's what I'm saying. Like the literal
people-
term of people lying around the block and going to see movies
Well,
like that.
more people paid for that film than any other film.
During the time it came out, or as it's been forever out been playing.
Well, according to when they adjust for inflation, Gone with the Wind is on top.
No, I know that. I'm just saying in terms of the era of the blockbuster is a little different than the movie that's made the most money.
Well, we on Spielberg. I think one of his better films that keeps getting overlooked is Duel.
Oh, Duel was the one back in the day.
I don't think people overlook that film. I think people put it right in his pantheon of great films.
Yeah. And the cool thing about Duel was back when it came out, you guys were very young. Anthony, you weren't even around. But when Duel came out, it starred Dennis Weaver from McCloud on it and showed him a whole different light, man. That was a great film.
That was a made-for-TV film, too.
Yes, it was. And it was still great.
Yeah, they don't do that no more.
What was his last movie? Was it Lincoln?
Yeah. The movie about the emancipating president that didn't have the black people in it.
Which one was that?
Lincoln.
Oh.
The one about the emancipating president that didn't have black people in there. You're like, nah, we don't need Frederick Douglass. We don't need to put him up in there. Nah. Harriet Tubman. Nah.
Okay.
Speaking of Spielberg, what would you say his worst film was?
AI.
That's a good choice. I'm going with I'm going with Amistad.
Ooh.
I haven't seen Amistad.
That was a bit overblown.
My other one is The Color Purple.
Huh?
My other one is The Color Purple.
I can't go with you on that.
Yeah,
What about The Color Purple?
That movie is horrible.
Because I know why you say it's horrible.
Why?
Because it's like a Judge Mathis episode. It hates it hates black men.
Wow.
Why you gonna cloud Judge Mathis, man?
Women quote that like that's the gospel. Like, God damn, like there's a new book, there's a New Testament to the Bible, The Color Purple. Like,
There's a film that hates black men that is called Waiting to Exhale. Okay.
yeah.
That's what hates black men.
I just remember. I'm not gonna mention any names, but this woman I was trying to get with for the longest time. I'm talking about years, and we started talking about Color Purple, and I said, "Didn't I have a lesbian scene in it with Suge and at the time the movie came out, people were speculating that I forget the character Suge and what was Whoopi Goldberg's character name?
I have no idea.
Seeley, right.
Yeah.
There was a scene in the book that people speculated that indicated that Suge and Seeley spent the night together. And so I asked my friend, was there a lesbian scene in that film? And she went, why is it that when women just support each other, they got to be lesbians? Da, da, da. I was like, I'm not getting nothing tonight. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Well, that's what it is. It is what it is. Now and because of that, we have Tyler Perry.
Oh.
Because of Color Purple?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
We're constantly quoting that goddamn movie. It's like some form or another. His movies are derivative of Color Purple. The black woman overcoming. Her horrible dark skin.
If the guy has got his niche and it's profitable for him, let him exploit that.
Hey, well, you missed it. I gave the man props. I said,
okay, I'll dap him up myself.
Need to take a page from Medea and get their shit together. I ain't say they gotta wear a dress. No.
He does have issues with skin tone, though. If you look at his films.
That is true. The light-skinned women are always evil.
The light-skinned men are always the heroes.
Well, Idris Elba was in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's because he probably got so much flack. But before that, Shamar Moore was the hero. Rick Fox was the hero. I can't remember in the other
You just threw out two men that women would just climb over their mothers to get to, so I can't see a point on that one, man.
Well, I don't know. I'm not that deeply versed into Tyler Perry's movie that I can debate you.
But you can bring the subject of it.
I didn't bring the subject up with Tyler Perry.
The light-skinned men, you broke down the movies, and all of a sudden you don't know nothing about them.
Well, Google it. You'll see that a lot of people feel that way. You'll see a lot of people feel that way.
So you do know about it.
I read the papers.
Okay.
Well.
So you're saying we don't read the papers? Okay.
Now I know you read it. It's 2014. There's no way you are reading a newspaper. Stop lying.
Okay, I check my my news feeds.
Shit.
Well, then we're gonna stop you from digging deeper into that rabbit hole. And we're gonna wrap this up. We've been going for a couple hours actually. So first of all, we want to say thank you for those who have continued to watch us tonight. Thank you for joining us, spending your time with us tonight. As we always do, we'll let you know where you can find us online. So, Mr. Q-Storm, you're up first.
I just want to respond by saying, y'all know what y'all can do with the shoe. Okay, that fell flat.
Woo!
If the shoe fit anyway, fine. Okay, fine.
It happens. They all can be winners. So.
We all miss Q. We all miss. It's all right.
But damn, y'all ain't got to go like motherfucking dead on me.
Well, we was waiting for you to finish the punchline.
I didn't want to say the whole thing, but anyway, you can find me on qstorm.com/lightning strikes. I will have a review up of top 5 tomorrow. I will also have hopefully a video review of the Hobbit, the final chapter in this god-awful slog of a trilogy. Twitter, you can find me at qstorm3476. YouTube, the real REEL Qstorm, and on Facebook as Michael Jones.
All right, Mr. Ant Pooh.
You find me on Instagram and Twitter under Ant Pooh. That's my nickname. As well as I have a new column up of Formula One Mania, top 8 far-reaching storylines in comics. First of all, fuck you guys. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Say what?
We can take this offline, but fuck them guys up in the comment section. I decided to use the word bae to describe Scott Summers' dead girlfriend, Jean Grey. And some motherfucker gonna have the nerve to tell me that this ain't the hood. You use proper English language.
Where was this at?
I will send you the link. It's for 418. But them y'all up in fuck y'all. All right.
Damn.
We'll keep the new column next Sunday. But yeah, how you gonna tell me this ain't the hood? Like what the fuck you trying to? Yeah, whatever. And then
I think Q-Storm may have left that comment.
But then he had a nerve to say that
Pull
if
your
you
pants up.
use it again, I'm gonna have to visit you at an inopportune time. I said, motherfucker,
Oh.
I said, give me your email. I will give you my home address, my work address, the top 10 places I visit within a week, as well as the hours I will be there. Come visit me, homeboy. Ain't heard from him back.
I got time, homie. I got
no, listen,
time now.
listen. What happened to Tony Stark when he did that shit?
The Buddha's
What
house show.
happened?
Mess around and get hacked.
Hey, his ass had to go to Tennessee. Okay,
Oh shit! Not that.
so that's not the right move, homie.
They ain't about that life. They
Start
is
calling
not about
Gangsta
that life.
Poo. Gangsta Poo in the house.
Nah, but you don't talk about you. No. Okay, I'm. That's it. That's all I'm gonna
That's it. Yeah.
come see me.
See, what's funny is this dude worried about going to a movie theater to see the interview, and he putting his address out there.
In the
Wow.
top 10 places he'd be at. Hilarious.
Yeah, he talking about he won't visit me. I was just like, nigga. I wanted to type that so bad, nigga, please. But I was like, no, what? This ain't the right audience. I'm not gonna give them that pass. So yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse him. Let's move forward. See, I'm that house Negro that can... Excuse him, sir. Next up is Big Sexy and Sack.
Big Sexy and Sack on Twitter and Mark Wiggins on Facebook. And yeah, that's about it for now.
Okay, hold up. Big Sexy. Listen,
Yes.
we waited
Oh, here we go.
14 years
Ah.
for an album.
Wait,
Now,
was there a bet between you and D'Angelo?
now give me something, man. Can I get a photo of the office? Can I get something on the website? Can I get anything?
You want a photo of the office?
Well, you said
Yeah,
you're going
put it on your Facebook. Put it on your Facebook.
I'll do that tomorrow. You ain't saying nothing there? Shit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us at PodcastJuice.net. Find us there. We do weekly podcasts. We have This Is What We Do, Geeked Out, the Prince podcast, the Wrestling Rundown. We just put up a new episode of that. So definitely give us check us out and find us on iTunes, PodcastJuice.net. You can also find us on Stitcher Radio. And hey, as I always say, my name is Michael Dean, and work it like a job. We'll see you next week. Peace.